Hello, good evening, and welcome to Voicetv Nigeria and your favorite program, The Logic, where we always talk about topical issues as it concerns the government, the people, and our nation. We'll be discussing two main issues that bedeviled us over these past few decades. We've been talking about insecurity every day of our lives, as if there's no solution and no end to it, and the disunity that has been cracking our nation's cord is actually a source of concern and a thing that we think when we discuss about them, we'll be able to find solution, common goal, and progress this nation. I won't be doing this alone. I have two wonderful gentlemen who I feel with their sense of unbiased approach to this issue will be able to profile solutions and point fingers where problems have come from. On my right is a wonderful man who has always been a law enthusiast, an IT enthusiast, a businessman, and a public commentator. Malam Abubakar and Sadiq, you're welcome, please.
Thank you for having me.
And on my left is another businessman and a public commentator. I think I have two Dangotes in the future in the studio. His name is Olutunde Abayomi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
To start with you, Mr. Olutunde, insecurity, disunity in our nation. What's your take and how did you get here?
Good evening, viewers. Sadly, I have to say, the state of the insecurity we have in this country right now is so disheartening. And we have to talk about it with great passion. Nigeria is such a beautiful country, started well. The state now, we really can't just put it together. We don't understand because it seems like we don't even know where we're going. The passion that I feel about this country, sometimes I want to cry. People dying every day. Our government acting like they don't know, pretending, or we don't even know what to say. Abduction here and there. It is so sad. It is painful that such a great country like Nigeria, that we all believe in, has come to a state like this.
Mr. Abubakar, Mr. Abubakar, like you heard him say, he started with Nigeria was a good country, the beginning, still a wonderful country if we're able to harness all the resources. How did we get here? Insecurity, disunity that is dividing us.
Personally, I would say Nigeria is still a great country. We're still moving forward. Um, the major issue we've had so far is bad governance. The people are very, very proud of their country. They're independent. We're all we all have some type of entrepreneurial mindset. Every one of us. Nobody sits down and does nothing. But I feel like the government, I don't want to point fingers, but we have not been managed in a proper way, to say. Because looking back, the country started out very great, but we are still in a state where it's constant, if we are going to use economical terms. We're not moving up, we're not going down, we're just in the same level as we've always been. And the only way for us to move forward is if we address the issues that we have at the moment.
The issues, Mr. Olutunde Abayomi, what are the issues based on where he finished?
Insecurity. Nigerians don't feel safe any longer in the country that we all believe we are one. We don't feel safe at all. And unfortunately, it looks like the government does not care at all. That is what everyone believes now because the case is becoming hopeless. Even as much as we try to have faith, it's a country that we are a religious country. We always tell ourselves it is well, it's going to be okay. But unfortunately, we need to own up and believe that we can, but unfortunately, we are not. The leaders have failed. We, the citizens, have also failed. We are all telling ourselves lies and lies and lies. We need to start saying the truth as it is. We need to stand up to the government. The government must be responsible. And I believe in Nigeria still. And I know we can do better.
He said, we have failed. The people that are leading us have failed. Do you believe that assertion too?
Well, I believe the people leading us have failed. And there's a little bit of truth in we have also failed ourselves because we have a large portion that are willing and wanting for us to be somewhere in the future. Whereas at the same time, we Nigerians at some level, for example, like the trains that have been set up in the country, people, we didn't have this before. Now we do. And it is a means of transportation that didn't exist before. Now it does. And it helps more than it destroys. It has created jobs and created various access levels. But there was a robbery. Um, Certain individuals went to steal the tracks for the train, which would have caused a major issue. Lives would have been lost, property would have gone, and so many other issues. But yeah, I would still say yeah, we still have some things like that we just how should I say issues that we should be able to have the same mindset. If we have a bad government, okay, let's assume we have a bad government. The people, we should all have this one mindset where we want to now move forward and not be like the people who are managing us at the moment.
So, as it is now, from the way both of you started today, and we believe they told us before, we'll be saying to them, you are the future tomorrow. Now, here's this: why have we continually chosen people we know have driven us this terribly, and now sit back now to complain when we, the Nigerians, the most majority of the populace, had the power, the voting rights to say no? If you can't offer us what you have, what you say you can do, let's boot you out. Where did we miss it? The electoral reforms have been we've had electoral reforms over and over. We've tweaked it here, we tweaked it there, but it seems it's been tweaked to favor a certain group of people than the majority. Now, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to change the status quo to the point where we will start thinking progressively? Because there it is, there's a disconnect from the leaders and those that have been led. Mr. Olutunde Abayomi, what happened and how do we close this gap of disconnect? Because it will be sad as the giant of Africa that we call ourselves, that we are not even trailblazers, rather we are doing catch up to a country as South Africa that we helped become independent, to a country as Ghana that we helped. So other countries are moving forward with their programs, and here we are. How do we close this gap to the point that the people will be heard without bloodshed, without all these unwanted revolutions coming up?
Patriotism. We have to come to a point where we become so patriotic. We have to love our country. Love is so important, it's key. We don't even understand where we are. How do you get to love yourself when you don't even understand yourself? Nigerians, we seem to be lost. We've lost value. We've lost the reason. We've lost the reason why we are even Nigerians. We are just Nigerians by name, unfortunately. You see, everywhere, look around, people hardly smile these days. Our joy has been stolen. We are so sad. We don't even know what the country has for us. The level of uncertainty is so clear that even the children these days don't even know where they're heading for. So for me, I think we need to be reorientated. We need to be reminded that we are actually giants, not by name, but as we are giants. Nigeria is big, is powerful. We are the most populated black nation on earth, but yet we're so behind. Like you rightly said, we've been so helpful to other countries in the past. Malaysia, South Africa, you can name on. But look at where we are. We are a laughing stock. And it's so sad. And for me, I think we need to recognize that we can go on. We can do better. Nigeria will stay strong. And the agitations of wanting to break out and all that, it is lack of love. So for me, I think love is key.
Um, Mr. Sadiq, you heard him mention love. Secession has been the music we've been singing from a particular part of our country. Yes, it is normal anywhere for a people to want to break off from their mother country. But the question is, the procedure for this breakup had actually brought deaths, disobedience to the rule of law, and anarchy. How do we go back to the drawing board as a people, then ask for these things rightly? What do you think we should do? What do you think the government can do to these people asking for secession?
Well, to answer that, I would say even in a community, for example, we always start from one to two to a family, and then we function as a community and then into a society. Communication is key for the disconnect that you mentioned earlier. Communication is key. I'll bring a reference as to the royal family in England, for example. Um, they've been ruling and moving in a certain way where the activities are not really known
Commendable.
to the public. They act and do things behind closed doors. And all the society knows, like the people in the country, all they know is, well, we have a royal family and this is what we think. And then they see them maybe for public
Showings.
showings. Um, around maybe 19 from 1960 to about 1980, for example. I can't pinpoint what year, but they were trying to sort of bring themselves into the modern world, into the modern era, because people have started at the time having a disconnect, start forgetting about the royal family, the need for them to ever be in power in the first place. So they had to create a sense of what do the people want? What do they want to see? How do we satisfy their needs in order to still keep existing in this modern era that we're going into? Because times keep changing on and on and on and on. We're never the same. Never. So, in relation to Nigeria, for example, the disconnect that's there is the youths we have in the population of Nigeria, just like Mr. Olutunde mentioned earlier, we're one of the most populous black countries in the world. And mainly our population, we have the youths, people below the age of 30 are more in number in this country. So, what do you do for that? You attend to the needs of the people in order to move forward. And as we're moving forward, things are changing: technology, ways of business, ways of doing things, how people function on a day to day basis. Before, would, for example, meet up in like events or some other occasion, and then we remember, memories, and then we start talking and everything. But these days we have our mobile devices. There's no need for that. There's the virtual world now at the moment, even with the COVID-19 that just happened now. So I think the state we're in now in Nigeria, for example, is definitely the disconnect, as you mentioned. If there was a way for the people to talk, and the government listens, and the government acts, then we'll definitely start moving forward. But just like Mr. Olutunde said earlier, it has come to a state where it's almost too late, but we hope it is not too late for this country.
Mr. Olutunde, he actually agrees with all the things you said. Do we have a solution, and what do you think we should start doing from now, moving forward?
There is a solution. The solution is we have to go back to the drawing board. Connection is very important between the government and the people of Nigeria. We need to recognize that we are actually the government. Without the people, there's no government. We can't keep on accusing the government and not do our own part.
Which are
Our parts are: you first love your country, you must be patriotic, you must appreciate where you're from. You speak to an average Nigerian, it will first of all talk less of his own country. Almost every Nigerian want to travel out. Whereas the people who visit Nigeria, who are not Nigerians, see a lot of beauty here. We are failed as Nigerians to appreciate what we have. It's not about the mineral resources, the character of Nigeria, the resilience of this Nigerian is key. These are assets. We are strong people. We must stop blaming the government. We can actually be exemplary to the government, and that will bring repentance. So for me, it is not too late. We are actually moving, just that we are not seeing. And when you move and you don't see, then you don't make progress. We need to begin to see deeper, love ourselves, and see beyond the pain. Let love overtake. How can you love someone when you don't love your own self? That's the pain. So for me, I see hope, and it's so bright.
Mr. Abubakar, you heard what he said. Do you think, aside from this, what else do you think, in addition to what he just said, can actually help propel us? Like you said, economically, we've actually, rather than progress, it has always been paper numbers, but not practicable. Now, the high cost of governance is actually a headache on its own. And the archaic leadership styles that is yet to meet up with the modern innovative styles. How do we get back these things? Because they are tools. You can't give what you don't have. We've always been singing that. Every governor, every government that comes, there's always a blemish that goes with that government. We are in the present one thinking they will better the other one. We're already crying. And we because there are children coming behind. And the worry is this: what kind of legacy do we want to pass on to them? What other addition to what he just said can actually propel us forward?
Hmm. Well, personally for me, I think in order for us to actually start moving in a fast pace towards development and satisfying the needs of the people is when we have a change in government. What I mean by a change in government, if you look at all the leaders we've had, there are leaders who we've had before having them now that we still have them
More like
again.
recycling them.
Recycling. We're recycling our leaders. It's like using the same car over and over, which obviously would break down at the
Yes,
end
wear
of
and
the day.
tear.
Exactly. And just like I said, with the disconnect and having to have the people connect to each other, is when we have a new set of people coming in, new mindsets, new ways of doing things. At least then we can be able to say, okay, does this satisfy my needs? Does it not satisfy my needs? Because now, if you look at it, you don't really have a say because it's still the same thing that we have before. And definitely, just like Mr. Olutunde said, you have to love yourself in order to give love out in the first place. I agree with him on that in the sense of if we had our own patriotism, then at least not everything would be unbalanced. At least we'll have balance somewhere, just like the state of insecurity now. I do understand that from a point of view, from a different point of view, some opportunities have not been created for certain people in order for them to empower themselves in order to move ahead. But that doesn't give you a reason to say
Illegality should be the way.
exactly. Um, Now, the insecurity, it has gone to a point that is terrible from hearing the stories to happening to oneself. Like for example, like even I'm a victim myself. Like I always hear stories of the insecurities in the country and everything, but until the day it happened to me, then I understood how close we are to you know close to
This catastrophe.
exactly. So um going back to your question, I do really think until we have a new set of people coming in, to give pave way for the youths to satisfy the major population in Nigeria, it's going to be really hard for the current government or current people to understand and move forward. I mean, there's always a positive and a negative to something. Um, if they are willing to take that, then they should be able to employ people who would advise them on what they should be doing instead of turning a blind eye on the citizens of Nigeria and allowing us to carry on with our lives as we are now because it's not any better at the moment.
He says something that there should be a change of guard. Do you agree to such that a new strata of age in leadership will be one of the basic tools to change or to move this country progressively, added to what you said before?
Well, I do not agree that is all about change of leadership. It's a change of mindset. When you talk about change of leadership, do you even know the group of the new leaders you want to elect? You don't even know. It's not about pointing fingers now. It's about a new set of mind. We need to renew our mind. We need to appreciate ourselves. We, the citizenry of Nigeria, need to appreciate what we have. It's not about leadership for me, it's about mindset. When our mindset is better, we begin to appreciate, we begin to know the values that we have. We have lost value. Even the leaders are even stranded. A whole lot of them want to do good, but they don't know how to do it and where to do it. And they are not even encouraged. So when you can't just keep pointing fingers at probably the president or the vice president or the ministers. They have subordinates. And when your subordinates are not helping, you actually will function. You won't function. So for me, it's not about leadership. It's about we, the citizenry, first of all, change our mindset, appreciate our country. Take, for example, you travel to other countries like England, America, they have their problems. A whole part of them have worse problem than we do, but they hide it, they cover it. You travel to a country like Bangkok, you'll be surprised on the street. You think what you see is what it is. You're so wrong. They just hide their problems. They don't bring them out. The good thing about Nigeria is that we are so careless about divulging information. You meet an average Nigerian, you ask him about his country, he begins to tell you how seriously, how desperately he's willing to leave the country. That is where, for me, the problem is. Self love, as they say, patriotism.
Now, sir, he mentioned self love, patriotism. Now, he said mindset, which leads us to this next point, corruption. A mainstay. What is the allure of corruption that even the anti-graft agencies find it difficult to even make a dent in the fight against corruption? Which is from all of this that we've been talking about, it seems someone is marginalized from one person taking more than he should. Corruption.
Corruption. I'd rather use the word oppression.
You think that's what should suffice?
Yeah. Um. Honestly, there are a lot of things. I'd like to address some issues Mr. Olutunde said. Um, Regarding the self-love and the mindset, in order to have all of that, you have to have patriotism. You have to love your country. And what reasons do we have to love our country in the first place?
You think all hope is lost?
Sorry?
You think all hope is lost?
No, hope is not lost. But in order to have those two qualities in a person, you have to be able to be proud of where you're coming from, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And if you haven't been given a reason to love and be proud of where you're coming from, then you wouldn't be bold enough to say, "This is where I am, this is where I'm coming from, and this is what I do." Like for example, in the side of maybe sports, we have a lot of Nigerians that are out there that are doing a lot that we can say, yes, this I am proud of these people because they are mine. At the same time, what has the country done itself for it to enable people to say, well, yes, I am a true Nigerian and I love Nigeria?
Because of their development. Never happened here.
Exactly. I'm not completely disagreeing with what you're saying, but I'm saying partially, in order to have those qualities, we have to be encouraged as well to love our country. Like, for example, just within, let's talk about within the state of Nigeria. Somebody from Lagos, somebody from Abuja goes to any part of Nigeria, they'll gladly say, I'm from Lagos, I'm from Abuja, because those are places that have opportunities. They have not entire security, but at least more security than other sides of Nigeria, which we all know. Um, so to address that, I think we have to be given a reason to be able to be patriotic about our country in order to have that sense of um, that ideology of I love this country and I'd want to do more for the country. Um, so addressing your issue regarding corruption, I think corruption has somewhat reduced over the years in Nigeria because before past times, a lot was not done in the sense of practical, practical terms. Like we don't usually see anything that's being done for by the
Anti-graft
the
agencies.
work and everything. Yeah, but now at least we do see certain development in certain places, even though we have a lack in security and certain infrastructures. Um, I would say we just have a gradual growth, but not really a major growth.
Which means even the growth is elusive. It's not
Yes,
really evident.
it's not really evident.
Is it about the manpower? Is it about the political will from the leaders who actually man these positions? Or is it the acts that actually created these agencies? That's the problem.
Well, it comes down to also the people, in the sense of, like I said, I like to start from community, from unit basis in order to move forward. So, for example, in a community or a district where they have a chairman or a senator, you've elected this official into office, and these are the promises he has made that he's going to do over his tenure, his stay in office. And first term comes to pass, and certain things, maybe even half of the list, has not been achieved yet. What do? You start applying pressure as the people. As the people, when we start applying pressure, let's say, for example, in every part of Nigeria, maybe just a couple of states start doing this action, or whereby they start applying pressure to people who they put into office to actually do what they have promised. One way or the other, we'll get what we want. Instead of just blinding ourselves from the truth and just maybe complaining, or as Mr. Olutunde said, having dreams and fantasies of leaving Nigeria to do better, instead of I'm going to make who I elected to do better for me in order to make me be better for myself.
Mr. Olutunde, do you follow what he just said? That a country actually has not given enough reason per se to its citizens to be patriotic. That probably because they were patriotic before, but because of events of neglect, marginalization, insecurity, has opened this wound that we cannot find solution to heal.
Well, you talked about corruption. What is corruption? The interpretation that Nigerians or that we call corruption, is it really corruption? Corruption that we Nigerians think is mostly about not keeping promises in terms of finances, because when you look at it, we set up EFCC, we set up bodies for recovery of loots and all that. It goes far and way beyond that for me. Almost every Nigerian is corrupt in the mind. So, like I said, we have to re engineer our mind. We need what we call re engineering. We have been wrongly wired at a point in time. It did not start that way. For example, in Nigeria now, I heard that they don't teach history in school any longer. How possible? Will the youths of these days know what happened in the past to make reference? For me, that is corruption. Scrapping history for me is corruption. What are you trying to hide?
you think the moment it's like you're trying to having denying like denying the future generations of the history of where they're from and events that happened before them is more like you're having something you don't want them to know about.
to hide. We live in denial. The leaders live in denial. We, the citizens, we live in denial. We don't want to tell ourselves the truth. You talk about Nigeria making progress. For me, we are not making progress, but I know we can make progress. So that is hope. The government is getting bad and more bad, but we can't keep pointing fingers at the government. What have you done? What have I done in my space? How am I managing my space? How much have I shown the country love? Do I have a reason to love the country? Is it an accident that I'm a Nigerian? I've lived in other countries, but the simple truth is that there's no place like home. Home is not beautiful, home is not sweet, but home is better than where you're coming from. Are you using the infrastructures to feel better? But where is your sense of originality? When you're here, you have family, you have people around you. That is beautiful. When you appreciate the people, you don't want to do bad to the people. Like he rightly spoke about Abuja, Lagos. People want to live in Abuja. They are proud to mention I'm from Abuja. I'm a Lagosian. It is true, but because the focus is already distorted.
On just these two places.
Yeah, people have misinterpreted what love is all about because you look at the leaders, you listen to them. If you want to base your thinking on what the leaders will tell you, you will never appreciate the country. But what are you telling yourself? That is the key for me. Like I told you, I love Nigeria and I always love it. I'm not waiting for someone else. I'm not waiting for the leaders. I'm not waiting for anyone to make me love the country. I'm so proud of this land because I've decided to see the beauty of the land.
So
And
I
I
think it's a
know,
it's a decision, just
yeah,
an
you
innate
must
one.
decide to love it because you will never ever find a reason to love it if you're waiting for one.
Wow, that's a strong one. Mr. Abubakar, he actually said loving Nigeria helps to actually probably see the beauty of Nigeria. I know a lot of commentaries is all about hopelessness of the situation that Nigeria is in. And at this point in time, we would love to have parting shots because we believe we can't exhaust all of it here.
Yeah.
And we believe subsequent discussions will help us open more more solution and preferred solutions. And we would never stop. Like you already said, both of you, we must be patriotic, we must love the country. But again, there must be a reason why we must want to love the country, which means it's all about the door swinging both ways. The leaders giving to the populace supporting the leadership. Now, what is your parting shot to the way moving forward?
Well, like I mentioned, during this whole conversation, we do still have hope. We still love Nigeria. Um, we believe better can be done, and we hope better can be done because, well, we are as Nigerians, we are a proud people. Like we're very proud of where we come from. There's no place better than home, just like Mr. Olutunde said. Would also just love to see that where we are from does better in order for us to go out and do better as well. Um, I just hope we just get to a point where we all love what we're doing with ourselves, and just like he said, love. Definitely, if we love each other, then a lot of things that are going on in the country right now wouldn't really be much of an issue. And that is where we have to start. We have to be able to all have a mindset of moving forward rather than complaining and victimizing ourselves, because we have a lot of Nigerians have a victim mindset. Any little thing that happens, somebody did something to me. But what can you do about it? Just like problems in relationships or even in the government, anywhere, always depends on how do you resolve your issues. How do we move forward from this? How do we move ahead? Because if you just sit down to just complain that okay, this has been done to me, then what do you intend to do about it? That matters a lot. And yeah, I do hope we develop a mindset where we just all would want to move ahead, move forward, hope for a better Nigeria and a happy Nigeria.
So your parting shot, sir.
I think as a Nigerian, perspective is very important. We need to change our perspective about the country. We need to think of what we can give to the country, how you manage your space, how you manage your life, what you want to do for the country so that the country can return back to you. Let's stop pointing fingers. Let's stop accusing one another. Let's begin to love our own self and see what we can give. I still believe so much in this country. And for me, it's a beautiful country.
With this, we say let's keep loving one another. Nigeria will be better. Thank you for joining us on the Logic and Voice TV Nigeria. Please never forget to subscribe and like our buttons. This is one of those kind of episodes that are unbiased, that help us understand that look, we are a people together. We can stand firm and we can be strong and we have strength in numbers. So we're not saying don't leave, but we're saying we need you. You are our brothers. Come to the table, whatever it is that is a problem. And we on the other side, who are the people representing, should try as much as possible, listen to these concerns and find an amicable way to resolve them. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you with us again next time.